So, the title of this one, How to Cheat the System. Yeah, it's definitely designed to grab your attention. And I know what you're probably thinking, but just stick with me here. We're about to dive into a way of thinking that, honestly, has nothing to do with sneaky tricks and everything to do with playing smarter, not harder.
So let's just start with the big question that's going to frame this whole conversation. What does cheating the system really mean? It's a phrase we throw around all the time, but the way most people think about it might actually be holding you back.
And this is really the core of it. On one hand, you have the common view, right? That it's all about sneaky tricks, breaking rules, and probably getting in trouble. But the smart view, the one we're exploring, is totally different. It's about understanding the rules so deeply that you can play smarter and genuinely get ahead.
And that right there is the key. Look, we're not talking about causing chaos or being dishonest. We're talking about mastery. It's about knowing the rules of the game, whatever game you're playing, so incredibly well that you can see moves and opportunities that other people just don't. Okay, so that brings us to our first big idea. You have to master the system's rules. This is the bedrock. It's the absolute foundation if you want to gain a real, smart advantage in pretty much any part of your life. And you know why that's so powerful? It's because most people only ever interact with things on a surface level. They just follow the most obvious path laid out for them. But the real opportunities, the hidden advantages, well, those are buried a little deeper. You just have to be willing to look. And listen, a system isn't some big, scary, abstract thing. It's everywhere. Think about it. It's the promotion structure at your job. What really gets you that next step up? It's how schools assign grades, or how your streaming service figures out what show to recommend next. And maybe most importantly, it's your personal finances and the tax code. All of these are systems with rules that you can learn to master. All right, so once you understand the rules, what's next? Well, that leads us right into our second principle. You have to find your leverage. This is where you find those key points, those little pivots that let you multiply your results without just working harder. I absolutely love this metaphor. A battering ram just uses brute force, right? It's loud, it's exhausting, and it's super inefficient. A chess master, on the other hand, wins with strategy, with foresight, with small, precise moves that end up controlling the whole board. That's leverage. So in the real world, what does leverage look like? It's about making those small, strategic shifts in how you do things. It's finding that one move that gives you 10 times the result. Like finally mastering that one software shortcut that saves you an hour every single day, or negotiating one tiny clause in a contract that changes everything. So, how do you find that leverage? What's the path? Well, it really starts with figuring out a rule's true purpose. Like, why does this rule even exist in the first place? Once you know that, you can start to find creative ways to apply it. And that's how you make the system start working for you instead of you just working for the system. Okay, now we need to pause and talk about what might be the single most important part of this whole discussion. Let's call it the ethical checkpoint. This is the guardrail, the thing that separates a smart strategy from just being a jerk. It's how you win without hurting people. Before you even think about acting on some clever loophole or hack, you have to stop and ask yourself this incredibly simple but powerful question. Does this thing I'm about to do negatively affect another person? If the answer is yes, even a maybe, it's not a smart move. It's just a shortcut that makes someone else lose. And right after that first question comes the second, and it's just as critical. Is this sustainable? A trick that works once but then gets the loophole closed forever? Or even worse, damages your reputation? Well, that's not a long-term strategy. True mastery is all about finding success that you can repeat. So when you put it all together, the real goal here is to find a genuine way to flip the system to your advantage, but, and this is the big but, to do it in a way you can be proud of, a way that leaves you with zero regrets. Which brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. This whole thing, it's not a one-and-done trick. Systems change, the world changes, so you have to always stay a step ahead. It's about building a mindset of constantly adapting. Your edge, your real advantage, it all comes from one place: curiosity. It's about being the person who's always asking questions, who isn't afraid to try out new ideas. It's seeing mistakes not as failures, but as data. And it's about staying flexible when, not if, the rules of the game change. And this is the ultimate payoff. When you really embrace this mindset of smart, ethical system mastery, you don't just get ahead in the current game, you actually start to change the game itself. You begin to redefine what's even possible.
So I'll leave you with this. We've talked about your career, your money, your learning. These are all systems with rules that are just waiting for someone to understand them on a deeper level. So the real question isn't if you can do this. The question is, where are you going to start? What system will you master first?